President Buhari says he wants a re-engineering of security architecture in the nation as some Nigerians today took to the streets to protest issues in the polity. We dissect the nation under President Buhari's watch and the way forward. And today, the Deputy Speaker in the Edo House of Assembly has been removed and replaced amidst controversies on issues ahead of the governorship election in the state. The Obaseki family is also divided on the support ahead of the poll. Hello everyone and welcome to the program. This is Politics Today live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Baloye in Lagos. So some updates for you coming tonight on the investigation over the suspended acting chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, Mr. Ibrahim Magu, who has been facing the presidential probe panel over allegations by the Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Abubakar Malami, SAN. Sources close to the presidential panel told Channels Television that the panel has promised to give Mr. Magu fair hearing in the process of investigating the allegations leveled against the embattled anti-graft boss. At today's hearing, Channels Television gathered that Mr. Magu had requested that the proceedings be documented by video or recorded, but it was turned down by the panel. However, the panel promised that it will be fair in its approach and conduct. Let's check out some of your political stories that we're following for you on our political roundup. And when we come back, our spotlight is going to be on security. What is the overall really like? We hear from the military the agenda of President Buhari to keeping Nigerians safe. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Katsina State Governor Aminu Masari is asking the country's leaders not to allow the insecurity in the northwestern and north-central part of the country to deteriorate to the level seen in the northeast. He was speaking to State House correspondents after a closed-door meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at State House in Abuja.
It's a task that must be done because we cannot allow a situation in northwest to develop.
The Edo State APC Governorship Campaign Council is accusing the state governor, Godwin Obaseki, of prioritizing campaigns for his second term in office while abandoning the governance of the state. The APC, which made this allegation during the press conference at the Ize-Iyamu Governorship Campaign Office in Benin City, also lamented that due to the absence of leadership, insecurity now holds sway.
Why the governor was elected, which in any case I've been hearing before handled with Olympian aloofness and magisterial pontifications, have now been completely abandoned.
Damn efforts by anyone.
Some members of Governor Godwin Obaseki's family have dissociated themselves from the endorsement of the APC candidate in the forthcoming governorship election by some of their siblings. In a press briefing by the family, its spokesperson, Oyuki Gaius Obaseki Jr., insists that the family members, Victor Obaseki and Osaro Obaseki, who declared for Ize-Iyamu, acted on their own without the support of the family. He adds that both men will be sanctioned accordingly. The Cross River State Governor Ben Ayade has expressed more worries over lack of support from the federal government for the ongoing construction of the state superhighway. Speaking at the State Executive Chamber of the Governor's Office, Calabar, the Cross River State capital, Governor Ayade called on President Muhammadu Buhari to fulfill his earlier pledge made while performing the groundbreaking for the project.
As President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to provide for the superhighway.
A group in the People's Democratic Party in Niger State, under the aegis of aggrieved patriotic PDP stakeholders, have accused the national chairman of the party, Chief Uche Secondus, of hobnobbing with persons whom they believe sold out the party in the 2019 general elections. The group, led by a former deputy governor in the state, Nuhu Zagbai, alongside former senator representing Niger South, Zainab Kure, also accused the state party leader and former governor of Niger State, Babangida Aliyu, of engaging in acts capable of disintegrating the party.
Thank you so much, everyone, and let's get talking. Perhaps the highest duty of any government is keeping its citizens safe. So We dissect a look at the efforts of the Buhari government in the last 5 years, on how they've been going about it and what they have in store for Nigeria. So yesterday, the president met with security chiefs at the Security Council meeting, and afterwards, the National Security Advisor said the president has ordered for a re-engineering of the nation's security apparatus amidst other things. Take a listen to the NSA, some part of what he said at that meeting, after the meeting yesterday.
The declining security situation. What he said today was virtually a reaffirmation of what he said the first time. Yes, Mr. President said, you are doing your best as far as I'm concerned, but there's still a lot more to be done. I am more concerned about the promise we made to the larger Nigerian society, and I am ordering an immediate re-engineering of the entire security apparatus. And this is something that I believe will be done in a very short time.
That was the NSA, the man who advises the president on the issue of security. So last week, a very awful incident occurred when the governor of Edo State was attacked. His convoy, when he was traveling to Baga, very, very awful incident there. The governor came out to say he perceived sabotage. On Saturday, the president said that he's not happy with the situation of about security in the country. Take a listen. Let me remind you of what he said, and I get you to hear my guest tonight on the program on where we are on the issue of security. Take a listen to President Buhari.
I wish Nigerians the best of luck, and in the Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Kabir sermon, the Imam has said it all. We want security, prosperity, and well-being of all Nigerians. And I want Nigerians to be very conscious of their country. And what we inherited when we came 2015 was Boko Haram northeast and the militants in the south. Nigerians know that we have done our best. What is coming up in northwest and north central is very, very disturbing indeed. But I believe the military and the police and other law enforcement agencies, I think they could do much better. They could do much better. But we are keeping them on the alert all the time to do their duties.
So where do we go from here, where hundreds and several Nigerians are being killed in the northwest region of the country, not only in the northeast region? And the president said this situation, according to him, disturbing. And he says that security chiefs could do much better. So let's get to talk about this and where we go from here. I'm being joined by General John Enenche. He's the coordinator of the Defense Media Operations. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, General Enenche, for your time tonight. And let's begin the conversation. It does look like the president is not totally impressed with the activities of those at the top echelon of the Nigerian military. He says, you are doing your best in terms of the government generally, but you could do much better.
Thank you, Aki. I don't want to perfectly agree with you in that your analysis of saying that he's not happy because he said you could do better. If you analyze it both from the perspective of English or from his speech on Friday that followed up to the one of I think yesterday, he is for our own assessment that go and see to the situation on the ground, what you are doing, and improve on it, which is what I believe from his own background as a commander-in-chief and the former military man, he knows. And he has been a practitioner, and he was involved, as it were, I think, in the Civil War. So I know that it is not that he has, said, look, I'm not happy with you, but he said, look, you are doing, but go and improve on it, and that is the way we took it. Taking it in that direction, we have what we call contingencies that were already in place. By our training, we train on challenges. As an operational commander up to the strategic level, the training you are given is to do appreciation, you anticipate future tasks, future problems, even if they are not on the ground. So what the commander-in-chief has said is that now go and activate your contingencies. What you have planned, you always look out for the worst-case scenario. You plan for it up front, even if they have not unfolded. So that is what is going to be done as it is now. In short, I can tell you and assure you that, look, there are other plans, just like the issue of in the Northeast, where the Nigerian Army, activated the Army Super Camps. The Army Super Camps is an upgrade of what we used to have there, like the mobile strike teams. So that is just the simple explanation, and that is what we are implementing to ensure that we now up our games. We look at the dynamics, we look at the unfolding events, we look at the way it is changing, and then we, release all that we have in our contingencies accordingly, and then modify what we have on ground at the tactical, command, and then strategic levels of our various operations.
General, for many Nigerians who are watching you right now, the military has since told Nigerians that there's been some successes in the Northeast operation against Boko Haram, but there seems to be some reversal and reprisal attacks from the Boko Haram and the insurgents. Is it that you have lost grounds on some of this battle, or what really has happened?
Yes, I will not blame the general public, because they don't have people don't have the statistics that I have, me now representing the command, the command structure. That is the information I get. I have the analysis that comes every day, and then you look at it, you look at a trend, you look at the graph, how is it going? But you cannot weigh military analysis, operational analysis, against expectational analysis. The expectation now is that the Northeast should have become like, as it were, 25 years ago. 23 years I was there. I was one of the commanders of Multinational Joint Task Force 1 under Brigadier General Temlong, retired. Then it was, we call it banditry, criminality. In short, they were even using rocket-propelled grenades, RPG-7. GPMG was just like AK-47 with them. And then we were able to contain them, as it were then. There was still criminality, but the movements and all other things were freer, as it were. There was no entrenched insurgency or terrorism. That is what we believe people are looking forward to, which the commander-in-chief has promised and have on several occasions, asked us to redouble our effort, which we are doing. That is why it appears as if, it's, yes, of course, if you look at it, like I said, from that perspective, but when you do the analysis, you will discover that the successes we have recorded on all the fronts, both in the Lake Chad region and then within our own part of the area of conflict in Nigeria, and then when it against the fact that, as it were in 2015, before 2015, some majority of the area, particularly in Borno State, were under the sovereignty of the insurgents. They had their caliphates, they had their authority, but it is not so as it is, as at today. What I can say here is that, yes, for a normal human being, you expect, like I say, the situation to return to as it were. But gradually, we are getting there. And with the support given by the commander-in-chief, you on Friday say, look, we'll give them what they require. And we'll continue to support them. And that is where we are now. So I want to say that categorically we are getting there. Because terrorism and insurgency, they are resilient, except particularly if they are tied to ideologies. That is, ideology, once it takes the spirit of a man. To purge him of it, it takes a lot of effort, involving all stakeholders, including non-kinetic effort and then the kinetic effort.
So, because several times now we've seen members of the National Assembly asking for the leadership of the military to be sacked by the president because they are not impressed by what we're seeing. Some members of members of the National Assembly are saying things on the ground are not showing that efforts are being made in ensuring that peace returns into that region. It seems that there's been a loss of hope and a loss of trust in the military.
No, that is on the side of our is it political masters you are saying? That the loss of confidence or whatever on the military?
Absolutely.
Let me get it clear from you.
Yes, there seems to be loss of hope and trust in the military because of the situation, they say, on the ground.
Well, it is a normal thing. It is, you know, it's normal thing for somebody to behave like that, like you have said. But it is not, it's not the leadership alone that is doing the fighting. The leadership gives the directive. Then you have the followership. So it cuts across all the strata of the military. So if it is in that regard, it is something that is targeted you know, at a particular echelon, which is not supposed to be so in the real sense of it. And I would say that the appropriate thing being done is that the directive we have been given is to implement that directive, and the appropriate thing is being done. I can assure you that we do that. We are doing that. Every day, there's no day that we don't sit down and then review the situation.
General, apologies to Bolton. We've heard these several time and time again that you are doing the right thing, you are doing your best, but the president is asking for an overhaul. If things are working, the president wouldn't be asking for overhaul. We've seen millions and millions of naira being spent in securing lives and property in the northeastern region. Things are definitely not working. What is the bottom line of the problem in fighting and securing the peace in that region, General?
Well, we have, you know, that is it's a relative thing. Why am I saying so? Because we soon forget what the situation was like in that area. I'm not saying that we have gotten to the expectation of the general public in that area. Where were we? Where was the situation? What was the situation like in Maiduguri metropolis itself? Where they were all over, bombings and all over, and then everything like upside down. Before 2015, we had places that were completely under the authority of insurgents with legal systems. We have crossed above that. So what is the situation is that we expect this to be like this now, where you can sleep, but it's not.
Apologies to cutting again.
You are getting there with the support we are getting.
All right, so it does look like something is wrong somewhere, because we are getting a report that some of your boys are retiring, are leaving the military. Those are some of the reports that we are getting. It does look like something is wrong fundamentally. What exactly is it?
Nothing is wrong. It's just mischief and misinformation. Is there any system where people enter and don't retire? If I will ask you, are you going to remain in channels forever? We have a routine whereby people come in every year on regular basis, regular recruitment, regular intake, and then exit. Is a system that is self-controlled. And once you have served your color service, 6 years, 12 years, 18 years, you can go. So across the people that left, why did people not leave in 2015? Didn't officers and soldiers leave in 2016? Didn't they leave in 2017, 18, 19? Why must this one be a difference? And it will continue.
But the number this time around, General,
so
the numbers of people,
I don't want to agree with that.
No, they've left in droves this time around. The number is what has scared people, that this is unusual.
That is not unusual. That number is far. How many do we recruit every year?
How many people are left in the last 1 year, General? How many people are left in the military in the last 1 year, General?
You are talking about 350-something living, and then there's noise about it. It's just packaging information to misinform people, presenting them with a different perspective and light. Let them go to Army records, Navy records, and Air Force records. How many soldiers, how many men retire every year? How many do we recruit? We recruit twice, if not for this COVID now, twice every year. And if you don't allow exit, then how do other people come in? There are a lot of factors. It's not even on getting to the rank.
Okay. So
For me
General,
to get to this rank, it's over
Yeah.
30 years, getting close to 33 years. And some people have left, by the way, the same thing with the other ranks. So it is not true. They just packaged that story and then misrepresented it to give dog a bad name. That's all.
General,
Otherwise, enlistment and discharge is a routine and regular thing, and it will continue as long as the system lasts.
General, let's take a break, but when we come back, we will round up this conversation on keeping Nigeria safe and the efforts of you and your colleagues in the military. Nigerians are concerned and they want Nigeria to be peaceful. We'll discuss more on the Buhari's agenda of security for the nation after this break, everyone. Join us again. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us on the program. If you are concerned about security situation in Nigeria, perhaps the number one man in the country is also worried. He said, according to him, the word disturbing is what he used to describe the situation. And just yesterday, there is a promise to overhaul the apparatus, the security apparatus in the country. And we're speaking with the coordinator of the military, the defense media operations, Major General John Eneche. He's in our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, General, for your time tonight. Let me ask you this. We're going to gradually bring home our conversation on the issue of security and the efforts of the military. The governor of Borno State alleged sabotage. Are you worried about what may be described as the presence and the activities of fifth columnists in the Nigerian military in the fight against insurgency?
I'm happy that you say that it is an allegation which needed to be proved. And also I want to say that for such an allegation, it calls for worry on our part at the High Command, of which we went into action immediately. For you now to say that sabotage, you give somebody a baby to keep for you, and you are saying that the person can kill that baby, is a strong accusation. We investigated it immediately, and the strategic level is cleared of that. Operational level, cleared of that. Tactical level, cleared of that. Now, from the basics, I was interested and I took a cursory look, we analyzed the video, the scenery. Even from the gunshots, the way it all played out, you will discover from the sound of the gunshots, it's not the conventional weapons that we use. Now, it comes to doubt. Because from our training, from the basic training of weapon handling, you hear the sound of a gun. You could tell whether it is FN, whether it is Kalashnikov, whether it is G3, whether it's GPMG. And of course, if you have operated with an enemy for some time, we call it enemy habit. From the habit, from that analysis, estimate, it was purely that of the enemy in that area. And that was at the Boko Haram, the BHTs. From the tactics, from the maneuvers exhibited, it was theirs. And then from the search conducted, it was purely theirs. So our fears was allayed after 48 hours. So I can confidently tell the public that it is not anything sabotage from the tactical, operational, or strategic level. And that is if you want to range it from rank down to the person in the front line, the private, the soldier, the airman, there. So it is an issue that will have to be handled by all the stakeholders at that level. Let them be reassured that we are bound by the oath of allegiance we swore to the President and Commander-in-Chief, and then by the Constitution to secure the country and provide every necessary assistance to the civil authorities while constantly subordinating ourselves to them and the Constitution.
Oh, I'm being told that
is the situation. No sabotage within
General,
the meeting.
I'm being told that we have few seconds to the end of this conversation. And let me ask you some 3 quick questions. I'd like you to quickly engage me in those conversations. The first is that when the president is asking for an overhaul, I'd like to ask you, do you have problem with funding in the military?
Well, at my level, I cannot speak on that expressly. But from what I know, no, we don't have.
Do you have a problem of outdated weapons?
Expressly, no.
Do you have a problem with outdated information gathering and intelligence in the military?
Not outdated. We don't have enough from the sources we expect from, and that is the general public. They are doing relatively well, but they need to up their game, because we have assured them that they will be adequately protected, and not one person has been disclosed as our informant to the public.
So when you have updated weapons, you have good funding, and, well, you said intelligence is not as much as it should be. So what then is the problem? What are you overhauling?
The problem is that we are fighting a new type of war, a new type of security challenge that you need to be up and doing, which we are. That is a problem.
So how soon should Nigerians...
Asymmetric war.
How soon should Nigerians be expecting a change with the order of the president? You are a military officer, and when your commander-in-chief says, I need an overhaul, Nigerians are expecting result ASAP. How soon can we get some results, General?
As soon as possible.
Major General John Enaiche, Coordinator of the Defense Media Operations, thank you indeed for your time tonight with us on the program.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So let's move on to issues related to security and governance under President Muhammadu Buhari. A combined security officials made up of the police, DSS, and the army have dispersed a group under the Revolution Now movement in Abuja, who took to the streets of Abuja earlier this morning, and some part of the country too, to demand for changing government. The leader of today's protest in Abuja, Palumi Olajengbese, said that the group is calling for a political revolution as they insist that the current government has failed the nation. The protesters cited insecurity, growing unemployment, and some of the reasons for the call for political revolution. They were, however, prevented from continuing with the action as they, alongside journalists covering the protest, were chased away. Meanwhile, the leader of the Revolution Now protest, Mr. Moyele Sowore, was not cited at the protest. Let's discuss this and what this means for Nigerians and Nigeria. I'm being joined on the program by a rights activist and a constitutional lawyer, Mr. Clement Nwankwo, joins us from Abuja. Thank you, Mr. Nwankwo, for your time tonight. How do you describe what happened today when those protesters were dispersed by security operatives?
Thank you, Seun. Certainly, the Nigerian Constitution is very clear. It gives the right to freedom of association, free assembly. It gives the right to freedom of expression. And when people come together to peacefully protest in this country, it is a constitutional right. I think that when they are accosted by security agents in a brutal, suppressive manner, it tells a lot about the quality of our democracy. People have the right to protest. People have the right to say that the government needs to do things differently. People have the right to say that the government is not doing well. And I think that a government that is responsive to the constitutional expression of thought, of speech by Nigerians, a government conscious of that right responds, listens, and responds to what people are saying. I think that sending out security services to brutally put down protest tells a lot about the quality of our democracy, and what it tells is not very complimentary. It is indeed sad.
The Nigerian state takes to court a leader of Revolution Now protest, and we see the situation now again when those supporters or followers of this same Revolution Now take to the street. What do you think could be the implication in the eye of the law when that name and that idea or that agenda is already being challenged in court?
Well, what I see is of Nigerians protesting. What I see is of Nigerians peacefully aggregating and saying what is going on in terms of the way they are being governed needs to change. I don't think that any government that wants to listen to what Nigerians give back to it as feedback for the way that it governs. I do not think that a government anxious to listen to people would be repressive of protests. So my sense of it is, I don't know what words are used, but words are not exclusive to a particular individual. If a group says that they want change, and you can interpret revolution now in whatever context you choose, but when people say that they want the way a particular course of action is going on in government, about the way the country is being governed, about good governance, about transparency, about accountability, when individuals, when groups say it, and this has been said on a daily basis by different people, and when people aggregate, when people congregate and say, we want things done differently, then I think the best way of defeating such an agitation is really to govern in a way that responds to what Nigerians are asking for. And when you look around the country today, there is increasing evidence of failure of government. When you look across Nigeria today, there is increasing evidence of violations of human rights. And we've seen the National Human Rights Commission, which is a respected agency with respect to human rights protection in this country. We have seen the National Human Rights Commission issuing reports about the deteriorating condition of human rights in the country. We have seen several actions of government that indicate repression. And I do not think that you can suppress a people by brutalizing them on the streets. What you actually do when you do that is provoke more anger, provoke more alienation of government. And I think that a government that is elected by the people in a democracy should be more concerned about winning the minds and hearts of its citizens to its side. So I think we've seen all of this in the past. A lot of us who saw the brutality of military regimes, and of course the leadership of this particular government was part of that brutality from the past. But a lot of us who have seen military brutality under military regimes are a bit worried when you begin to compare what is going on today with what is going on from the military era. We certainly cannot go back to a military dictatorship era. There are things that have to be done very differently, and that includes respecting the rights of people to peacefully protest. And I have not seen any evidence that those who were protesting violently. So I think that the course of action that the government needs to do is to provide a platform for free expression, listen to citizens, and if there are things that needs to be done better so that citizens will express better response and respect for government, then the government needs to listen and do such.
So, Mr. Nwankwo, you've used words, you are a civil rights activist, or another leg of Nigeria, of democracy across the world, that is the environment where civil rights can operate. So you've used words like repression. Are you implying that this government is intolerant and repressive? Because you need to be clear about this government, because the president has said that he's a converted Democrat. He's a Democrat, he's converted.
Well, certainly, I don't know about converted Democrat. I know that we have elected a president. I know that we have a constitutional rule. I know that this president is bound to operate within the limits of constitutional requirements. And I think that when people exercise the rights that are entrenched in the Constitution, the government, the security agencies, and indeed everyone has a responsibility to respect the rights of people to freely express themselves. I think that the democracy is government by the people, for the people, and by the government for the people, by the people, and for the people. So if you are a government and you are, yes, please.
So where do we go from here to finalize this conversation? What you have described tonight, where do we go as a people under this government?
I think this government needs to know that people are angry. I think this government needs to know that the environment we're in today means that people are getting a sense that government is not listening to them. When you look all around the world, people are frustrated, are depressed by the effects and impact of COVID-19. What you are seeing here today in Nigeria is that Nigerians who are victims of COVID-19 are being treated by government in a way that even makes them look like they are not the victims. when you look around the world, you see that governments are taking steps, providing economic remedial measures to support people. What we are seeing in Nigeria is that virtually every agency of government is increasing levies, duties, taxations. Monies people have are being taken by actions of government agencies who are basically nonchalant about the fact that people are losing their jobs, people are losing their source of income. This government must respect the rights of Nigerians to be able to express themselves, to be able to find a means, since the government is really not supporting them, but people should be able to provide for themselves in the absence of government. But government needs to respond to people's demands, and I don't think they're doing so.
Mr. Clement Nwankwo, a civil rights activist and a lawyer, thank you so much indeed for your time tonight. We have some other business on the program tonight, and is that of pure politics, the politics of Edo State, and we'll take you through that ride into the south-south region of the country, where the Deputy Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly, Mr. Yekini Idiaye, is being impeached by his colleagues in the State Assembly. His impeachment is coming less than 48 hours after they led 4 other lawmakers to endorse the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Pastor Sergei Izeyamo, ahead of the next month governorship election. And so we've also seen a divided house in the Obaseki family, where over the weekend, members of the Obaseki family endorsed Pastor Sergei Izeyamo, and today we're seeing another members of the family saying that they've endorsed Governor Obaseki. Let's discuss this, everyone. I have joining me from our Abuja studio, Honorable Washington Osifo is a member-elect of the Edo House of Assembly, and from Benin City is Honorable Osaiho Ihoha, is a special advisor to the governor on political affairs. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming tonight. Let me begin with Honorable Osifo. Thank you so much for coming tonight. What has happened today? We've seen some removers. Another one has happened today. What do you think is playing out in your state?
Well, Sean, good evening. Thank you for having me. Good evening, Nigerians. I'm sure I particularly like the way you introduced the matter. We have seen another one today. With this government, it's almost one day, one trouble. And the latest is the removal or the impeachment of I don't know. I don't even know what to call it. You say the impeachment of Yekini Idiaye, Deputy Speaker, as it then was. But for me, there's been no House of Assembly in Edo State. What they call House of Assembly to me is a contraption. I think what happened 4 days ago, just like you already know, was that he led some of his colleagues, to our candidate, Pastor Sergei Izeyamo of the All Progressives Congress. This is democracy, and you have a right to express your own will and make your choice. And they made their choice as party men to say that despite what has happened in the past 1 year under the leadership of Godwin Obaseki, they have realized. For all of us, we always have a time to tell our stories. For them, it was only 4 days ago that they told us. For us, we said it over a year ago that this government was standing on the head of democracy. And for us, we wouldn't want to queue behind such irresponsible conduct that will embarrass democracy. And if the House of Assembly does not exist, then it means that democracy does not exist. And of course, for the past 1 year, what has existed in Edo State is anarchy, is autocracy and all of that. So my brother, day before yesterday, aligning with his political party, the All Progressives Congress, decided to get out with others to support our governorship candidate. Of course, just in their way, their normal way, they are known for it, lawlessness. They thought that the proper thing to do, they would not allow him to make his choice, then the next thing would be to take him out. And the reason why it's a bit difficult for me, to speak on this issue today is because the House of Assembly as it is tagged today does not exist. Therefore, the position of the deputy governor, of the deputy speaker, never existed. That is the way it is before now, and that is the way it is. I think what is to say, collection of friends. They were 10 at some point. 4 of them decided to leave that friendship, and they pitched tent with a political party that they originally belonged to, and supported the candidate of that political party. For me,
let me allow,
he was never removed as deputy speaker.
Just a moment.
For me, he was excused as a friend.
Let me allow Honorable Yoha to come into the conversation. You heard what Honorable Osifo has said, describing the situation in Edo State under Governor Obaseki. How do you react to it?
Well, thank you, Sean. Thank you, Nigerians. Good evening. The issue is very, very clear. The lawmakers came together today, and the Edo State House of Assembly presently has members from 2 political parties. Before now, to this time, it was just 1 political party. And now that the governor moved and then majority of the members moved to the PDP, the position for deputy speaker simply has to go to the majority. And then they sat down, and then when the former deputy speaker is a member of the APC as we speak. So why should he expect that he would continue to be deputy speaker when he's in the minority party? So if there are positions from minority parties, like when I was in the House of Assembly before, we had a minority leader and we had a minority whip. So those are the kind of positions that they can aspire to, because the majority of the members in the House of Assembly, as we speak, are members of the PDP. It's simply the case. So there's no need for us to start creating storms out of teacups. It's the normal thing that happens in Parliament. I think it's a season of removal of deputy speakers, because in June we had the deputy speaker of Kaduna was removed. In July it was on those turns. So today is those turns. So there is nothing out of the ordinary in the moves. So that's what happened today.
Let's take a break. And when we come back, the both honorables, one served in the 6th Assembly in Edo State, one served in the 7th Assembly and is re-elected. We are dissecting the governorship race in Edo State. We'll talk about what has happened in the Obaseki family and how the family is divided along party lines. That's next on the program, everyone. Turn this in. Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. So we're discussing the developments in Edo State. Let's get back to the conversation. Honorable Washington Osifo and Honorable Zaiwo Yoha from Benin City. Both of them are weighing in on this matter tonight. Let me go back to Abuja with Honorable Osifo. What we saw today, where members of the Obaseki family said, look, those last week who said they're supporting Pastor Osage Izeyamu, they're on their own, and in fact, they are going to discipline them. And we have some of them who say they're supporting Governor Obaseki. What is happening?
Well, for me, I don't like to be tagged as a busybody. I am not a member of the Obaseki family, and they have a right to pitch tent with whoever they want to pitch tent with. You know, the governor belongs to the family of Obaseki, and Osage Izeyamu belongs to the Izeyamu family. And if in their wisdom, members of his family decided in their wisdom for whatever reason, maybe including but not limited to abandoning the family while he existed as a governor, and they decided to say, instead of supporting a man who didn't respect the family, who is dragging the name of the family to the mud, why not let me support another candidate, you know, of another political party and of another family, at least to give opportunity to the public to know that the name Obaseki, we have great people with good conscience. We are not all like Godwin Obaseki. So for me, that is not an issue, and it shouldn't even come to national TV, except just to waste the time. But I think what I particularly want to talk about is that if you look at what is happening in Edo State today, I am sad to listen to my brother, my very good friend, Usaibobo Yoha, say that it is the turn to take away deputy governors. I mean, let us respect the entity called Nigeria and the game called democracy. It is not just for fun. It is an opportunity for responsible leaders to lead their people and cause development, peace, and progress to reign in their domain. So if it thinks that it's just fun, then it tells you what we are doing in Edo State and what the governor is doing. Now, let me tell you, we have 18 local governments in Edo State. As we speak, the moment the governor took his trade from the APC to the PDP, exactly what he instructed the local government chairman to do was to ensure that they bring the reign of terror on all councillors, those who refuse to go with him. As we speak today, it is either they are suspended, a few suspending majority, or their salaries are not being paid because they didn't go with him to PDP. Now, what the governor must know is that what makes democracy supreme is the right of choice, to make a choice. Therefore, if he says that if you do not go with him to PDP, your salary is either stopped or you are removed from office. What it also means is that he cannot be crying and shouting that there will be violence when he, by reason of what he's doing now, he's the one sponsoring violence. And I want to tell my brother, he's a young man like me and he's my very good friend. Politics has come and politics will go. But the truth is that what we are known for, as after 4 years, we really people that we are governing today or we are leading today, we have to estray us. We will continue to live with the people. APC will go, PDP will go one day, because PDP never was at some point. APC never was. But the side where you were. Washington was there. Who says tomorrow we will continue to be in these two political parties? I know who also says that tomorrow you will continue to be Godwin Obaseki's friend. He was once my friend. We had to disagree on political issues. And today I am saying, and majority of us are saying, that he's leading Edo in the wrong direction, and we will not go with him. And I'm sure that's what some of his families are also saying. We don't want to go with you, so that we don't label the family, the great Obaseki family, in the image and
now, Honorable, you are to react to what you said. Honorable, what is happening? If you react to what Honorable Sifo has said, especially the happenings in the Obaseki family, how would they be divided over one of their own?
Well, let me just put things in proper perspective. The Obaseki family is one of the largest families in Benin. You understand? And I think the governor has over 500 to 700 first cousins. So it's a very, very huge family. And then you don't expect for people not to have divergent views. They have a right. You cannot tell me that every Obaseki should be in PDP or they should all be in APC. They will have APC members. So if the APC members come and if really our politics had ideology, there is reason for any Obaseki to say that this is my party, the APC, I will not support anybody in PDP. It doesn't have to be whether it's my brother or my cousin is irrelevant. But however, you should know why the governor is having, why politicians are finding, a couple of politicians are finding it difficult with the governor, because there's a paradigm shift in how things are normally done. Because we are looking at an era today where nobody ever thought of COVID, that COVID was going to come. So you can see that our health system has been in shambles and we have been exposed by COVID. So the governor came with a new ideology in politics to let us fix the system. Unlike what we are used to in Nigeria, where a family member comes into politics and then everybody now looks, oh, it's our turn to take from the Nigerian cake. So the man has come in to say probably one or two people are disappointed. It is expected, but the man doesn't have nepotistic tendencies. So he has come, he has told everybody that I have come to work for the people. Because if you are saying as politicians that I should work for only you, if I even concentrate on my family, the kind of the membership of my family, the volume of people that we have in my family, the money, the whole money that is even meant for the state will not be enough for them. So the man has come to work for the people. He didn't come to work for his family. He didn't come to work for his party members. He came to work for the generality of Edo people. So a couple of people would definitely not be happy with the way things are panned out. But what does it matter when the generality of Edo people, as we see today, both in the country and in the diaspora, they are all shouting, anywhere you go, we go. And everybody's with the governor. Those cannot wait. We are just chilling. We are happy. We are just waiting for September 19th. I believe that if we had mail-in voting, like we have in the United States, in some states in the United States, by now about 90% of the votes will be cast. And by now, INEC would have known the direction of this election or this contest. There is no contest here, Sheon. It's very, very clear. There's only one party in Edo State as we speak.
All right. So, Honorable Sifo, you heard him. He said if early votes were allowed, his candidate, Governor Obaseki, would have won by now. What's your reaction?
Well, first, our sacred opinion is free. For him, that is for him to say, and he has, I respect his opinion. But the truth is that September 19th that he mentioned is sacrosanct. It's not, except INEC thinks otherwise. So it's not for him to say. It's for Edo people to say. I've always listened to him that everybody all over the world, and even though everybody in Edo is endorsing him. For me, he should also know that I'm a member. I'm a member of the Edo political group. I come from Edo. That includes me from the way he's counting it, that he says everybody. So that's huge fallacy. And if you have, even if you have to start from there, his submission is already faulty. So I'm not part of it. My family is not part of it. And my friends are not part of it. The 14 other members not sworn in are not part of it. And the 4 who just joined us now, they are not part of it. So how can he say he's part of it? And he's also he's arguing on the TV to say that the Obaseki family is large. Some of them can decide to also work against the family. It is allowed. And by his own conclusion, he says everybody. So what about he's reprobating and approbating? So it doesn't really follow that way. But politics, what we are known for, politicians, is that we talk too much. So let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what happens on September 19th. I love to be remembered for what I didn't say, but what I worked to achieve.
I'll count that as perhaps your closing thought. Let me get that of Honorable Yoa on what has happened and what he has said, especially with the reaction of the APC today, saying that the governor is distracted from governance, that he's focusing more on campaigns.
Well, you can see, Sharon, that they are APC, as we speak, they are currently bereft of ideas. They've scored a lot of own goals, and they are victims of their own evil machinations by one man who just changed the whole landscape in Edo from what it was before now. Because 2 years ago, before the former national chairman decided to come up with the EPM, everybody was shouting. Even the PDP members then they were saying that, look, for the next governorship election, we are going to vote APC. We are going to vote for the person, Godwin Obaseki. When we were telling him, when we were warning, but people paid deaf ears at the national level, that this party, APC, as we speak today, is about Godwin Obaseki because of his performance, his stellar performance through these 3 years plus. But they didn't listen to us. But now they're crying over spilled milk. They don't have anything to campaign with. And then we can see the disgrace that is going on. For Christ's sake, if a governor, a man that served the state for 8 years, and then became national chairman of a party, cannot be looked at as a role model. I mean, who should we now start looking at as role models? How should we teach our children? For someone to come out 4 years ago to say a lot of things about, I don't want to mention those things here because it's so shameful. I cannot say them. You say A, B, C, you have over 10 things, you are on videos, you understand, saying one thing about one person, destroying his character and all that, and then you turn back 4 years later, and then you want to click the reset button on our brains to tell us that we don't have heads, we don't have brains, we are not educated, and that everything you said about this man some years ago, they were all lies, you did it because of politics. Hello. Come on, man. What do you expect? What do you think of us? How do you even school your child? So you mean you can tell them to say A today, and then tomorrow you tell them, no, I never said this. So it is where APC has found itself today. They don't have anything to say. You understand? I've never seen where a performing governor is disqualified or is sent out of his own party. It shows the level of arbitrariness of one man. So they have found themselves in a very, very difficult situation, and they do not know how to swim of it. So the only thing they can do now is to sling on straws.
All right. Honorable, we need to leave it at that. But I must sincerely thank both of you, Honorable Washington Osifo and Honorable Osaiwo Yoa from Benin. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your talk today. We keep our tabs on the race ahead of the Edo governorship election. Thank you indeed, everyone, for watching tonight. I'm Sean Kimale. Bye-bye.